Hi there, it's Rick Lomas here from indexicon.com, a certified link research tools expert. I've had a lot of people just recently asking me questions like what's the best ratio for anchor text in your backlinks, and how many follow versus no follow you should have and all that. So I thought I'd try and dispel all the myths today by showing you some results of this great tool. It's one called Competitive Detox by Link Research Tools. Now what I'm doing here, I'm comparing a site which I worked on a while ago called iPhoneFix.co.uk, who repair iPhones, and I chose the 10 main competitors that were already ranking, and as it happens, this one had a penalty, so it wasn't ranking too well. Now, what this does, this basically it does a link detox on every single site that you've put in here and compares them. Now, if you're unfamiliar with some of these terms, Kemper Power and Kemper Trust are metrics invented by Christoph Kemper from Link Research Tools. Kemper Power is kind of similar to how Google PageRank was, because I don't think it's accurate anymore. Kemper Trust is a metric that you won't see anywhere else on the web. It's kind of what the rest of the web thinks about your page. And a really good metric to use is these two multiplied together. So for example here, this itechstore.co.uk has a power of 4, trust of 1, which gives a power trust of 4. Now you can see straight away here that our site here is sitting at a power trust of 6, which is kind of sort of in the middle. But there's the interesting thing to notice here is that it's got a power trust of 6 with 694 referring root domains, whereas say for example itechnician.co.uk has achieved 8 with less referring root domains, implying it has kind of better links overall. But we can look at this in more detail anyway. So what we're looking at here is the link detox risk. This is kind of how likely these sites are to receive a penalty, and generally when you're seeing over 1,000 here, it's pretty much something's got a penguin penalty. So as we're looking at sites that are now ranking on the first page of Google, you can see that they've all got reasonable detox risks. Our one's got 800. The top 5 have an average of 552, top 3 560. Okay, so one of the first things we can look at is how the variations of different kinds of anchor text varies. Now here we're going to talk about brand. So example, that would be in this case iPhone Fixed, which is the name of the company. Money would be something like iPhone Repairs. A compound is a mixture of the two, so it'd be something like iPhone Repairs by iPhoneFixed.co.uk. Other is all the ones that are kind of like click here or find out more, that sort of thing, you know. Now here you can see the orange one is your site. So for the sake of you not looking at it from this point of view, you're probably more interested in looking at these two, the two darker green ones. The darkest one being the top 3 average. That's the sites that are scoring in the top 3 places of Google, and I think that's where we all want to be, and the top 5 average as well. So really I would say these are the percentages you should be looking at. So so in this example, brand key phrases are about 61%, money somewhere between 29 and 22, and the other ones somewhere between 7 and 11. Compound key phrases somewhere between 3 and 5. Okay, so that's that one cleared up for this niche. Now the interesting thing here is every niche is different. So if we go over to a different report that I've done. Okay, so let's have a look at competitive detox for William Hill. It's a gambling, online gambling, horse racing type site. So here I'm comparing it with things like the Racing Post, Sporting Life, UK Racing Results, Sky Sports. So this is a kind of different league really, because these are, you know, huge corporate companies like National Lottery. So you can see here that the top three, they've just got a below average domain risk, and the top five are also in that category as well. William Hill themselves were sitting at 462, so they're okay. Interesting to see that the total average over the top 10 is actually quite high. So it's, you know, it shows you kind of what Google are looking for in a way. Anyway, let's look at the keywords. So once again, you can see here that the brand keywords here is a bit less. You know, you should be looking at something like between 59 and 46% brand keywords. Compound pretty low, 3 or 4. Money keywords somewhere between 25 and 34, with the other ones quite high here. Well, higher than the last example we gave, between 13 and 17, and that's quite interesting as well. I'll look at one more. Now this one was quite interesting because this was a Dutch site about casino and online slot machines, and it's really interesting when you go up to the Netherlands that they really don't use many backlinks at all, you know, and it was really interesting to see just these really low figures here. So then when you're looking at the link risk of those sites, even the top three, slightly higher than what we've seen so far. In actual fact, you can see here that this Gerkasten and fruitautomaten.com, that one's got 215 referring root domains and a power trust of only 4, which is rather poor. But because that's what the market's like in Holland, then Google has to rank somebody first and somebody second and somebody third. So this is why it's so interesting to look at the detox risk they're running at, and all that. The site I was looking at was a new one, so it had a zero zero detox risk. Okay, so the keywords here, I mean, look how different this is, because here you've got, you know, the brand keywords are only 24 to 28%, you know, and the money keywords are actually 76 to 72% for the top 3 and the top 5. So that's very, very different to what we've seen so far. Okay, now what we need to do now is to look at some of these sites, and try and find out a bit more about the ratios of no follow and follow. So to look at the William Hill example, I'm going to look at this tool here called the Competitive Landscape Analyzer. And here we're looking at William Hill compared with things like Paddy Power, Ladbrokes, Coral, all the big ones. And down here we can see quite a lot more information about how the power and trust is distributed and all that. But what we want to know really is about the link status. And you can see here generally, if we're looking at the top 3 average, that's the dark green one, you're normally looking at about 76% follow, 18% no follow. Okay. Now, of course, as well, there's other types of links. For example, image type links. So we can look at those, and we can see here that in this case, 74% are text, 20% are images, 2% are redirects, and then there's some frames like iframes, which are 4%. So it's quite interesting. Deep link ratio, that's interesting as well, because I've seen some examples where people have only got links to the home page, and in the case of William Hill, we're looking at 83% are actually deep links going to inner pages of the website, and only 17% are going to the start page. Let's compare this with a different kind of niche. Now this is actually one to do with this company called Vivint.com that actually had a case study published on Link Research Tools yesterday, and they had been buying. They had a paid agreement with a big university in Utah, where they had something like 24,000 follow links, and they got penalised for it, and that's what my case study was about. Now the interesting thing here is we can see this, because if we go to look at the link type, you can see here, right, the orange one is U, so that's Vivint, right? You can see that they had an enormous amount of image links and comparatively not so many text links. So that stood out there. Okay. So meanwhile, you're looking at everyone else having a sort of 54 to 65% text links, and then quite a high percentage, 46 to 34, of images. And then looking at the link status, well, you can see here that generally everyone else had sort of quite high ratios of follow links, 95%, and just 4 or 5% no follows. Now, because Vivint got penalised and they changed those all those links to no follow, they've got 97% no follow links, which is it's quite interesting, you know. Once again, looking at the link type, is you can see why they got penalised, because they were standing out, because they just look different. They just look not natural compared to everybody else. And for a site to rank on the same page, you need to look like everybody else and just do a tiny little bit better to get to number one. So so with in the home automation industry, 54 to 65% text links, and say like 46 to 34% image links is what you're looking at. Deep link ratio. You can see as well that Vivint had too many links to their start page. Everyone else had 71 to 66 and 29 to 34 percent deep links going to the inner pages of the site. So what can we assume from this? You can assume that every single niche is completely different, and it depends what country you're in, what niche you're in, the type of product that you're selling, everything like that. And by using the competitive detox and the competitive landscape analyzer, you can get a really good idea of how you're going to blend in. And I think that is the secret of SEO now, is just, you know, to blend in, do a little bit better. Okay, this is Rick Lomas from Indexicon.com. Get in touch if you have any questions, or you would like me to do some work for you. Okay, thank you.